This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered financial advice. The cryptocurrency market is highly volatile and you could lose money. Always do your own research, and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. What if I told you there's a pattern emerging in the crypto charts right now? A pattern so precise, so eerily familiar, that it could unlock a potential 500%, even a 600% gain in one of the most intriguing altcoins on the market. Yeah, I know, it sounds too good to be true, but right now as you're watching this, a familiar ghost is haunting the charts of JasmyCoin, a setup that precisely mirrored the conditions before its last parabolic surge in early 2024. The kind of move that turns modest portfolios into life-changing ones. But before you get swept up in the euphoria, understand this. In crypto, familiar patterns can sometimes be the most dangerous traps. Tonight, we're peeling back the layers on this massive JasmyCoin rally signal, dissecting the raw data, exposing the terrifying risks, and showing you exactly how to navigate this high-stakes game. Because if this pattern plays out, you'll want to be ready. But if it doesn't, well, you're about to find out just how brutal this market can be. Crypto Dream, with his keen eye for market mechanics, pointed out something absolutely fascinating. He noticed that JasmyCoin's current chart pattern is starting to look uncannily like it did back in early 2024. Now, why is that significant? Because back then when Jasmy sported this exact same setup, it detonated for an explosive surge of over 500%. Think about that for a second, more than a 5 times return. In crypto terms, that's a legendary run. Let's look at the chart. You'll see a clear, defined rising channel pattern. This is a bullish continuation pattern, indicating that despite some volatility, the asset is maintaining a consistent upward trajectory within specific boundaries. Crucially, both the top and bottom trend lines of this channel act as strong resistance and support respectively. And here's the kicker. Back in early 2024, Jasmy hit the lower edge of this rising channel. It bounced hard, and that bounce initiated the monstrous rally. We're talking about a move that was, for many, life-changing. From that trendline touch, the price exploded, shaking off bearish sentiment and grabbing headlines. Now, fast forward to today, JasmyCoin is doing it again. It has just touched that same critical lower trend line of the rising channel. And guess what? The price is already starting to react. We're seeing that immediate bounce, that initial burst of buying pressure that characterized the start of the last rally. The green part of the chart, what we're witnessing unfold right now, is a carbon copy of that breakout phase from early 2024. This isn't just a random squiggle on a chart, it's a high probability setup based on historical precedent. It's a powerful signal that could bring back massive confidence in the project and attract significant capital. The stage is set, but like any grand performance, there are unseen forces at play waiting to disrupt the show. But hold on, before we all start counting our hypothetical millions, let's inject a heavy dose of reality. In the world of cryptocurrency, patterns, no matter how compelling, are never guarantees. And this is where the real tension begins, because while history often rhymes, it rarely repeats itself exactly. Firstly, let's consider the broader market sentiment. Yes, the crypto market generally looks strong, with Bitcoin holding its ground and institutional money flowing in. But what if that sentiment shifts? What if Bitcoin itself experiences a sharp correction? Jasmy, like almost all altcoins, is highly correlated with Bitcoin's movements. A sudden downturn in BTC could easily invalidate this perfect pattern, sending Jasmy spiraling downwards, leaving those who blindly followed the pattern absolutely devastated. Remember, even the most bullish setups can turn into brutal bear traps if the macro environment sours. Secondly, let's talk about the smart money, the whales. Are they truly accumulating here, setting the stage for another pump? Or are they merely consolidating positions, perhaps even preparing to distribute their holdings to unsuspecting retail investors who jump in on this familiar pattern narrative? We need to watch volume confirmation very closely. Is the current volume behind this bounce strong enough to sustain a 500% rally? Or is it a deceptive flicker of hope designed to lure in liquidity for a massive dump? This is the core dilemma, discerning genuine interest from engineered hype. Jasmy, being a project with a solid use case, is less susceptible to pure pump and dump schemes, but even the best projects can be manipulated by large players. And what about the very nature of JasmyCoin itself? While its focus on IoT and data privacy is, definitely laudable, it also puts it directly in the crosshairs of evolving global regulations. Governments worldwide are still figuring out how to regulate decentralized data and digital identities. Any sudden restrictive policy changes in key markets, especially Japan, given JASMY's origins, could introduce immense selling pressure, completely derailing any technical pattern. We've seen projects with solid fundamentals crumble under regulatory uncertainty. Is the market truly robust enough to absorb such a shock should it occur? So far things look promising based on that pattern. But every single investor who has ever been burned in crypto will tell you, past performance is not indicative of future results. This kind of chart pattern is a strong signal, yes. It catches everyone's attention precisely because of its repetition. But the market isn't static. The players are different. The global economic backdrop shifts. The fundamental variables, however subtle, are never perfectly identical. Could this be the moment the pattern breaks? The moment the trap springs? The moment the 6 times dream turns into a nightmare? The trepidation is real, and it's why your strategy needs to be ironclad. So, we have this compelling, almost identical pattern for JasmyCoin, hinting at a potentially massive 500 to 600% rally, just like we saw in early 2024. We've weighed the bullish signs against the very real, very dangerous what-ifs. Now it's time for the payoff. If JasmyCoin truly follows the path carved out by its past performance, and if the broader crypto market sustains its bullish momentum, then yes, we could be on the cusp of another phenomenal move. So, we're talking about targets that would put JASMY significantly higher than its current levels. Given its current price, a 500 to 600% increase would project JasmyCoin into territories that could easily break new psychological barriers, potentially putting it firmly on the map as a leading altcoin for data security. This is the opportunity, the explosion we discussed for those who correctly anticipate and manage the risk. The retest of that trend line, coupled with increasing volume and positive sentiment, is an incredibly potent cocktail for an upward surge. But to capitalize on this, to truly navigate this volatile potential, you need a plan. Here's my tactical breakdown for you right now. Validate the breakout. Don't just FOMO in on the initial bounce. Look for sustained volume confirmation. See if JASMY can hold above that critical trend line and break past immediate resistance levels. A clean break and retest of those resistance levels as new support would be the strongest confirmation. Define your entry and exit. Based on the early 2024 pattern, a bounce from the lower trend line initiated the rally. If you believe the pattern will repeat, consider your entry strategically. More critically, establish your take-profit targets and stop-loss levels before you enter. So, a 500% gain sounds amazing, but honestly, even taking 100 or 200% off the table can be absolutely life-changing. Don't be greedy. This is where, most investors really tend to falter. What's your initial target? When do you actually secure profits? And what's your absolute maximum loss if the pattern fails? Monitor Bitcoin dominance and market sentiment because JASMY's fate isn't entirely its own. Keep a close eye on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin shows any signs of weakness or a strong pullback, even the best altcoin setups can falter. Also, monitor overall altcoin market cap. A rising tide lifts all boats, but a receding one can sink them quickly. On-chain analysis is key. Track whale movements. Are large wallets accumulating or distributing? Look at exchange flows. Are tokens moving onto exchanges, which could mean potential selling, or off exchanges, which might signal potential holding or staking? These real-time data points provide honestly some invaluable insights. Diversify your portfolio. Never put all your eggs in one basket, no matter how shiny that basket seems. JASMY presents an exciting opportunity, but it should, be part of a balanced portfolio that includes more stable assets. This isn't about guesswork, it's about calculated risk. The familiar 6 times bullish pattern for JasmyCoin is back. The signals are screaming, and the potential is honestly undeniable. But the market is a brutal teacher for the unprepared. Will this be the rally of a lifetime for JASMY holders, a testament to the power of repeating chart patterns? Or will it be a cunning trap, leaving a trail of liquidation and regret? The next few weeks, maybe even months, will tell. Your job now is to be informed, to be strategic, and to be ready for any outcome. The crypto world waits for no one. Be vigilant.